Welcome to Ask Mike Anything, the hour a week where you can ask me anything and I'll try to answer it. So hit me up, type it up in the comments, let me know. I am going to double check my sound here real quick. Hey, looks like it's coming through there. So yeah, what's on your mind? Let me know. Hit me up, ask me questions. Braylee, do you have a question for Daddy?
Why did dumb cow go to the movie theater?
Why did the dumb cow go to the movie theater?
No, why did the cow go to the movie theater?
We don't know how smart the cow is? I don't know. Why did the cow go to the movie theater?
To get a smoothie.
Well, thank you for that, Braylee. You have to go to a movie theater to get a smoothie?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Mostly.
All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Make sure to call me if there are any questions.
Oh, I will be sure to call you if there are any questions for you, Braylee, for sure. All right. Or for Michaela, maybe. All right. So while you guys are typing in your questions, I am going to take a card. Yeah. So here we go. All right. So the first card for tonight is which band or artist, dead or alive, would play at your funeral? Honestly, I would have to go, and I know it's gonna. All right. So when I think of music like that would play at my funeral, I kind of feel like in my mind it's always like the WWE entrance music. So like when the wrestlers come in, they have their music that's just like huge. Like mine would have to be something with some good driving beat. I would honestly, I wouldn't mind having Metallica play at my funeral. So that's what I go with that. Hey, Braylee. Braylee, there is no question for you, but Mr. Scott says that joke was utterly ridiculous.
Really, Mr. Scott?
Utterly. Like, because cows have udders.
Really?
All right, thank you. Some people's kids. So my dad asks, how impactful was Jeremy's message on Sunday? Wow. Is that a rhetorical question? It was very impactful. So I was talking about that with some friends the other day. Actually, yesterday. Just this reality that of what he worked in to that poem. I love the 9.5 minutes imagery of it. That was really good. And then when he worked in the Roman half death, which is 40 lashes minus 1. The 39, he counts up to 39, right? It was just phenomenal. And I'm very, very grateful that he allowed me to use that. That was one of those pieces. So coming up, my plan in the transition, because there's going to be 3 weeks or so where nobody's in the pulpit for St. Matthew's and Cherry Hill, and so what I'm planning to do is take the sermons from the Good Friday 7 Last Words service that I preached in, and breaking those up and using those to fill those Sundays. But that poetry piece, I don't know how many people actually from my congregations were able to see that and hear that, and so I wanted to make sure all of the poems that night were amazing. They always are, but Jeremy's very much was one that hit me, and also fit really well with where my message was for Sunday. So very impactful. Other questions? I'm going to hit mute here for just a second. All right. So, yeah, questions, hit me up. If the question is what's in the cup, today it is fruit punch Gatorade. Tomorrow I get to drive to Ohio and get my second Moderna vaccine shot. So hopefully I will be, fully protected. Yeah, very soon. But they say the side effects, if you get them, will be lessened by hydrating. So Gatorade. Are you referring? Okay, so my dad wants to know what the heck I'm wearing. This is called a hat. It's a hat, see, that I like. This is a shirt with Spider-Man on it. It's a Spider-Man shirt. Any other questions? Yes, Ohio. Not my favorite way to do this. It was really like we couldn't find a place around here that I could get into. I did kind of a vaccine finder thing, and the only place I could go was Ohio. I scheduled my appointment. I went, I got my first one, and like a few days later, Michigan Medicine contacts Bree and like, oh, hey, you can go next week and get the Pfizer shot at the big house. And then like, so she got hers a week later than I did. But we're both getting our second shots this week because mine had a 4-week wait, hers had 3. And so I get mine tomorrow. She gets hers Thursday. So we're pretty excited about that. Yeah, we're excited about that. So other questions, hit me up, type them in. I'm going to go to another card. It says, if you could jump into a pool full of something, what would it be? Other than water, I would probably, I like Jell-O. I think Jell-O would be a fun one. But also like the cornstarch and water, non-Newtonian fluid. I would love to see like a pool filled with that so you could run across it or sink into it. That'd be a lot of fun. And I saw somebody fill up a pool with the little Orbeez things. That was pretty funny. But yeah, probably Jell-O. Jell-O would be fun. All right. I'm not seeing any more questions. That's all right. All right. Let's see. Another one from the cards. Face a fork in the road or be forced to... Would you rather face a fork in the road or be forced to pick between 3 doors? I am a fork in the road kind of guy. I guess it depends on what you're telling me is behind any of the 3 doors, but yeah, I would probably go fork in the road simply because my favorite Robert Frost poem is the 2 roads diverged in a wood, and sorry I could not travel both. Yeah, I like the imagery there and taking the road less traveled. So that's what my answer would be on there. All right, folks. So yeah. So this is the last week of Fun with Faith before our summer hiatus. We're doing that so we can have more time to finish things we need to finish here, and then time to figure things out and start right in Grand Rapids. So we're gonna stop doing Fun with Faith after Thursday this week for the summer. And the Thursday episode is going to be an Ask Us Anything. So anything any of y'all have ever wanted to ask a clergy couple, you can do that, and we'll do what we can to answer them. We will have a scripture backup in case we don't have a lot of questions. We can talk about scripture. We may do some reminiscing about our favorite episodes, that kind of thing. Because this has been, we when we started last March, it was really very much, what do we do? What do we do to keep sane, right? And what do we do that's going to be good for other people and their sanity? Help them, remember what day it is, so that not every day is a blur's day. So yeah, that's where that came from. Just from what do we do? What do we do to keep people connected in any kind of meaningful way? And so that's where we ended up. But so as we close out this season, it'll be our 249th episode. We are going to do an Ask Us Anything. So join us for that Thursday, 10 a.m. Right here, the way you found us for this, or found me for this. So yeah. Other questions? It doesn't have to be a long Ask Mike Anything tonight. We can go 15 minutes and be done. That's fine. But I just need the questions. That's all. Come on, give them to me. So yeah. All right. So I had to do. I'm taking an ethics class right now, and there's a pre-class assignment and a post-class assignment. And the post-class assignment, one of the things was to record a Zoom kind of podcast with a few classmates. And of course, like, if I can do a podcast, I'm going to do a podcast. But I don't think the teacher really thought through the mechanics of it, because it was supposed to be 35 to 40 minutes, which is fine. But a 35 to 40 minute video file is several gigs of data. And so we were trying to find ways, how do you want it submitted? How are you going to accept it? And like, I think she settled on, can you load it onto a flash drive and just mail it to me? And I'm like, how about I upload it to YouTube and send you a link? So that's what we did. And she got it today. I hope she likes it. It was a good conversation. But all right, so we got some here. Where is my wife? She's supposed to be in a meeting, I thought. She really is the life of the show. She's got pink hair now. Yeah. No, she's got a meeting. It probably doesn't start till 7:30, but she's got a meeting. All right. What will you miss most about Ypsilanti? Other than the people? Because I am very much going to miss the people. Good people who have been amazing friends, great for our family, and I really hope that, it doesn't always happen. You move from a place and you got to cut some ties, just by the nature of the job. But I really do hope that I'm able to keep in touch with a lot of folks, especially with the way technology is these days. As far as stuff other than people, I'm going to miss Ford Lake. It's a nice little river walk down there. I'm going to miss just my haunts around town. I'm going to miss the corner. I'm going to miss the tap room. I'll miss Let's see. Um, Cultivate. I'm gonna miss. Miss a lot of places like that. So, but I'm also sure I'm gonna find a lot of great ones in Grand Rapids too. So, but I am gonna miss it. And yeah, Sheena, I am hoping to be able to come back for some bomber breakfasts. So before we knew we were moving, before any of that, like Michaela had to get braces. Her orthodontist is here. We have paid in full, and she still has a couple years of that. So yeah, we'll be back. Yeah. Let's see. Favorite pastime. So these days, it's binge watching stuff on Netflix and Amazon. I love playing my guitar. Absolute favorite. Uh, and I haven't been able to do it in a long time, but like just good hikes. When we lived in Oscoda, there were great hiking trails up there. Yeah, stuff like that. Let's see. Chris Ramirez. My favorite brand of battery. Chris, coming from anybody else, or well, other people may find that out. So, if we're talking like AA, AAA, that kind of thing, I tend to go Energizer or Duracell. I don't like going off-brand, generic. I know people think they're just as good, but they're not. But if you're talking rechargeable USB battery packs, I'm a big fan of Jackery. They hold quite a bit, and they got a little flashlight on them if you need it. I plug USB in there; it'll charge any number of things, and I have several sizes of them for when we travel. It keeps my stuff running. But yeah, Energizer otherwise. Yeah, so we have, you can see behind me, there's that rainbow cross quilt. Those are gifts that are made by a lady named Wendy Clark, who happens to live in Grand Rapids. Didn't know that before we got on the list to receive one, but as a ministry, as an act of love, she started making these quilts, and slowly but surely, especially as the as people started posting more and more of their worship and devotional things online over the pandemic, we started seeing these. Let me move the right way. Here we go. We started seeing these pop up, and finally, I asked the right person, like, well, how do we get one? I want to buy one. I want, whatever. They said, oh, you can't buy it, but you can message this person, and they'll put you on the list. And when it comes to you, she'll ask you what colors and make them for you. And while she's making them, she prays over them. Sometimes she gets a word or a phrase that she feels inspired by as she's doing them, and then she signs the back of them. And Bree was not ever going to just like send Wendy a Facebook message and say, "Hey, I'd love to be on the list." She just wasn't. That's not who Bree is. But I know I knew she was kind of jealous of my quilt, and so I did it for her. And Wendy was kind enough to not spill the beans, and I got to surprise Bree with hers this morning, which is right there. So, yeah. Would you like to have time to write songs and or put a musical group together? Oh my goodness, yes. So yeah, I miss writing music. I had intended this year to try and do some more of that. Just haven't felt the inspiration to do it. Hopefully I'll gain some in this transition time. But yeah, and putting a band together, whoo, doggy, is that something I want to do. I miss playing with a band. The problem is, the problem is I know how much of a hack I am when it comes to playing guitar. And the only reason my band worked before was because everybody's like, all right, we'll just follow Mike. And then they just like made me sound better by following what I was doing. If I went into a band where I have to try and follow other people, I'm just not good enough. I know that it's not me like, oh, woe is me. No, I just know I'm not. So, and that's okay. But anyway, yes, I would love to. And I'm hoping there are folks in the Grand Rapids church that have some of those different musical abilities that maybe we'll get to play together sometime. So that'd be good. When was the last time I wrote a song? What inspired me? Chris, it's probably it's a long time, more than 10 years, I think, since I wrote a song that I would play out in front of anybody. It's been at least a decade. And the last one, man, I can't even remember what it was. It probably would have been, I do a song called Time, but I think there were a couple after that. Anyway, what inspired me primarily were the music I wrote. The songs I wrote were all very much about faith, about belief, about God. Never really did anything outside of that. I think like the last song I wrote that like I sat down to intentionally write was still more than 10 years ago. But I wrote it for my wife. I hadn't written a song in several years. And so I wrote a song about why I wasn't writing songs. And it was because, at least my theory at the time, was after I got married, she helped alleviate a lot of the pain I was in. That some of that came from my songwriting came from pain. And so I said, you made it so it didn't hurt as much. So I didn't have to write as much. And I did that by calling her my Yoko Ono, but because she broke up my band. But yeah. So that would be the very last one I can remember writing. I never played it for anybody but her, and I think maybe my dad was there or somebody was there when I played that for her. And honestly, I couldn't even tell you how it goes today. So, Betsy asked, "What is my biggest fear?" Honestly, the thing I fear more than anything is one of my kids getting sick, like Carl got sick, our son who passed away, or grievously injured, that kind of thing. When it comes to fear for me, it's usually going to be around my kids or my family, and bad things happening to them. Yeah. In the vein of my kids, though, I do have fun writing songs with my kids or for my kids. They're usually like not anything I write down, but I just get a chord progression going on the guitar and we make stuff up. Braylee especially likes doing that. She's 6, and so a lot of the songs she makes up with me have to do with bodily functions. But yeah. Oh, good questions. Any others? Hit me up. All righty. So, so we do appreciate your prayers this week, as we are both Bree and I are getting our second shots this week. Grandma Kathy is going up north for a few days, so it becomes our lives take on a bit of a different cast when Grandma's not here. Responsibilities shift, and we miss her a lot. So prayers are appreciated for that. Let's see. Oh, what am I binge watching these days? I just finished today. Excuse me. It was going through The Big Bang Theory. That was a lot of fun. Probably going to go back. I was doing, before I started Big Bang Theory, I was doing the Marvel Cinematic Universe and timeline order. So I'll probably go back to doing that. That one I wait. I try and wait and make sure Michaela can watch. But yeah, that's basically where that's at. I don't know what I'm going to do next after the Big Bang Theory. I've been told, I've been given suggestions for a couple that I may try out. But nothing really on my plate right now for that. Let's see. Betsy asked about favorite beverage. All right, so if we're talking soda pop, I'm typically a Diet Pepsi guy. Go a step further in the caffeine spectrum, I tend to go sugar-free Red Bull. I do like coffee. Alcoholic beverages, I tend to be a bourbon guy. On occasion, do some like if it's a hot summer night, I might like a gin gimlet. But yeah, otherwise, beer. Yeah. Water's good. Gatorade. Did I have any hobbies growing up that you've let go of? Yes, I no longer play football. And I used to love playing. We would play behind the Boys and Girls Club where I grew up. There was a sandlot kind of baseball thing. Not really a baseball field, but we made it a baseball field. I like playing baseball there. Playing basketball. Some of that is, stuff I gave up. Some of it's stuff my body says no. You can't do that anymore. I'm hoping the new church I'm going to in Grand Rapids has a basketball gym in it. So one of the things I'm hoping to do is shoot hoops a little more. Even if it's just like I go up at lunchtime and shoot free throws for a bit. Yeah. Something like that. Favorite mom meal. Most of the time I could just say whatever she made for dinner tonight. It was, tonight she did fried chicken tenders. The other night we had people from our bubble over, and she did London broil with asparagus and French fries and 2 different potato salads, and but like the best comfort food from my mom is her sloppy Joe on top of mashed potatoes. It is so good. Yeah. Yep. Do you wish disco would come back so you could dance and dress like your dad did in the 70s? No. That was fairly easy. No. I wouldn't mind, like, I could dress like you did in the 70s for Halloween some year. You know, if I wanted to scare people. Yeah. All right. So, you know what? I didn't get a chance. I don't think I did. I may have on Fun with Faith, but I wanted to brag. We had parent teacher conferences over Zoom last week with our for our kiddos, and they're doing really well. They are, yeah, their grades, their behavior, everything at school is phenomenal. Even with just starting back to in person. The biggest thing that I got like filled my heart with just I was giddy. Michaela has since she started learning how to read, she has been a voracious reader. I sat down, I think she was 7 or 8, and I was reading a book. It was Christmas time. I was reading a book by one of my favorite philosophers, contemporary postmodern Christian philosophers, and I'm reading this book, and there are huge words in it, and I'm like, "Hey, Michaela, come here, just read this paragraph," and she would read it, and she would like sound out really big words. So her teacher, now she's in 5th grade. Her teacher says to me, or says to Bree and I, that basically they can't test her reading level, is how high it is. And the teacher's like, I'm not kidding. She gave me book recommendations, and my last Scholastic book order was all books that Michaela recommended I read. In fact, I'm reading one right now, and she picks up this big book that Michaela had recommended she read, and I'm like, holy cow. Oh, what a kid. So, and apparently Braley is kindergarten famous. I can't stand in line. We have to stand in line like and hold a sign with their name on it because everybody wears masks to pick up the kids. And people see my sign that says Braley Desiton, like, you're Braley's dad? Oh, everybody talks about Braley. That's all I hear about at night at home is we talk about Braley. So apparently she's kindergarten famous. Melissa Rosenberger, what marriage advice do you have? I have lots of marriage advice, Melissa. Anything more specific that you're looking for? I can do the typical. Don't, if you can help it, don't go to bed angry. But I will also tell you, when it comes to conflict, confrontation with my partner, the rule we try to live by is the first person to yell loses. Doesn't matter if they're right. Doesn't matter if you have, doesn't matter who's right. If you're the first person to yell, you lose, because yelling escalates things. and escalation is never really a good way to go. Oh, how to deal with men that don't share their emotions. Um, it really depends on why they're not sharing their emotions. Some people, it's a piece of trauma. If they've shared their emotions and before and had them thrown back in their face, they might not do that. They might not be willing to share that, to be that vulnerable. It could be that they never learned growing up how quite to process and deal with things, and so they shove them down. And you'll only see those emotions come out in explosive kinds of ways. Really, if you're married to somebody, or you're looking at getting married to somebody, some of those conversations should be had before marriage. Absolutely. And if you are married, and you have a partner who is closed off for whatever reason, it's important that you express your feelings, and not in a way that blames them, but in a way that models uh, what you would like to see. And saying things like, "I don't feel like I understand." If when you don't share, when you're unable to share, I don't understand. I'm trying to understand. There are lots of great counselors and people out there who can walk you through some of that too, if it is a deeper issue. Um, I know. I still Bree and I. How many? We're coming up on 15 years, something like that. But yeah, I would. I still struggle with things. There are times, Bree's coming to me with a problem, and my immediate gut instinct is to fix it, or tell her how to fix it, or tell her how I would fix it, when that's not really what she needs. What she needs is just for me to hear her, and to say it's going to be okay. So that would be a way to go. But yes, I see. My dad has said seeing a marriage counselor before there's a problem would be a good idea. Yeah, it is. It is absolutely a good idea. So when Bree and I first got married, I knew I had baggage. Everybody has baggage, but we made a point to, before we had arguments, before we had a problem, before anything happened, we sought out a counselor, and we just started going once a month. Just get my oil changed every 3 months. We can go see a counselor for an hour once a month, right? And catch problems before they happen. That's really good advice. And your marriage, your partnership is worth it. So, Nisha, best book I've read lately and why? Well, if we're going with lately, it's going to be books for class, because that's what I've been reading. Let's see. So, most recently, it is Introduction to Christian Ethics. And right now, I am working my way through Professional Sexual Ethics, a holistic ministry approach, and also Shameless, a case for not feeling bad about feeling good about sex. So those are the books I'm working through right now. But I will tell you, The Universal Christ by Father Richard Rohr has been a big one for me in recent years, as well as pretty much anything Tomas Halleck has written. He has a 3-part series. Night of the Confessor. And 2 others. I can't remember the names of them right now. There's one, Night of the Confessor. There's one about Zacchaeus, and a third one, that are all just phenomenal. If we're talking like my for fun reading, that I can tell you. Just a second. I have been going through the Joe Ledger series, which is kind of sci-fi meets first tier special forces kind of thing. And I did a series by Douglas Preston and Lincoln Child about a guy named Gideon Crew. That's more sci-fi and adventure kind of thing. Let's see. Oh, I did Helldivers. That was a fun series. And then, I did How to Be an Anti-Racist. That was a good one too. Yeah. But yeah, I have a lot of the for fun reading books. But I don't get to do as much right now because I'm doing the for class books. Ooh, I also recently reread The Social Principles. And while not a super exciting read, was also like one of those things I think churches need to revisit more. Yeah. All right. Any other questions, folks? If not, I will call it a night here. But I don't want to do that if you got more. I'm more than willing to hang out. Ooh, Nisha, if you get a chance, The Orthodox Heretic and Other Impossible Tales by Peter Rollins. That is hands down one of my favorite books. Yeah, it's Nisha. The Social Principles is less impressive because I had to read it for my ethics class. But so Nisha, I asked folks for their favorite scriptures to preach on them and let people kind of see how I handle these favorite and somewhat familiar scriptures when starting at Trinity. But as we were reading as I read the Social Principles and as we talked about them in class, I thought, man, that would be a great way for the church to get to know me too, right? To take the Social Principles, break them down kind of by their categories a little bit, and see what people want to know about, right? And then preach the biblical view that those come from. So anyway, it was an idea I had along the way, and we may end up doing that. We'll see. All right, I'm not seeing any more questions coming, so we're gonna call it a night. Love you all. Thank you for the questions. If you do come up with some, you can hit me up in the messenger, and I will deal with. I will answer those next week. Ask Mike Anything is going to continue. We may have a day or a week or two where I don't have time to sit down and do an hour, but the plan is to continue because this is one of those pieces that's good for me. So I hope it's good for you. but it's good for me. And so we'll continue to do that as we're transitioning and moving out. The background behind me will change, but I'll still keep doing this. So love you, thank you, and we will see you next time.